This is Chuck Schaefer of HCM.TV, and today I'm joined by Dennis Pombriant, Managing Director of Beagle Research. The purpose of our discussion today is to examine how economic conditions, along with social and mobile technologies, are fundamentally changing human capital management as well as HR strategies, missions, and services delivery. Welcome, Dennis, and thank you for joining me. How are you
Hi,
today?
hi, Chuck. I'm just wonderful. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. Dennis, you've done some recent research that shows many companies still operate HR manually. Beginning with recruiting, they sift through volumes of resumes, emails, spreadsheets, and other data sources when it comes time to find the ideal candidate. And then they move those candidates through a hiring process that should flow systemically, but instead incurs a lot of starts, stalls, and stops. It's a process that's cumbersome, costly, demonstrates inefficiencies to the talent pool you're trying to impress, and extends the cycle's duration. Why is this manual process still so pervasive? And how do you recommend companies advance from manual to automated HR recruiting processes?
Wow. Well, Chuck, you're absolutely right. In my world, it kind of reminds me of SFA or selling 2 or 3 decades ago. There was so much paper involved in the process that it really dragged the process down. So we weren't able to move as quickly necessarily as a customer might want to move. Deals slowed down because of it. And I think in HR we see the same kinds of things happening. It's amazing how many back office HR systems are still using spreadsheets. They're still using notebooks or legal pads and things like that. And in order to I think speed up the process, and there's a good reason to speed up the process because finding the right talent these days is like finding a unicorn. And when you find one, you really don't want to have to say, oh, no, wait a minute, I have to go, get permission or check this piece of paper or something else. So it's absolutely critical that we systematize the process of especially of hiring, but of also of managing people in the back office.
You know, Dennis, we all recognize that good employee management doesn't stop when the recruiting process is complete. And in fact, this stage then begins a longer employee life cycle journey. After hiring new talent, employers must then engage, motivate, nurture, advance, and retain staff. You've produced research identifying how some HCM leaders are creating social enterprises using social tools for collaboration among employees, and how internal social networks are facilitating improved employee satisfaction and business productivity. Can you share some additional insights into how this is happening and the results employers and employees are realizing?
Well, quick story. First of all, if you read the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson, there's this nugget way deep in the book that where Jobs actually talks about what he called the collaborative hiring process. Meaning, he didn't simply let marketing people talk to marketing candidates or engineering people talk to engineering candidates, etc. He made potential hires talk to interview with the people that person would be interfacing with on a day-to-day basis. It was all a very manual process from what I could gather at Apple. But when you add a social network to that, you suddenly are able to trade information in near real time between people who have skin in the game, people who have to make hiring decisions, people who have to coordinate as well. You have this ability to let the HR department work sort of as partly as a recruiter, but also as a marketer of people to departments, a marketer of jobs to the outside world, all with very, very little friction. And that does a couple of things for you. It increases the number and quality of candidates that you can attract, and it increases the radius around which you can look for people.
When you talk about marketing and HR doing marketing, let me use that as a bit of a segue to something else that you've identified that I find very interesting. Most business people consider human capital management to be a back office function. However, you suggest that in a more collaborative environment, the HR department is responsible to market the company's jobs to the outside world and sell internally. to sell prospective candidates to hiring managers, and to provide customer service, oftentimes over social media, to large and expanding candidate pools seeking answers and engagement with the company. Marketing, selling, and customer service sound a lot more like front office functions. When and how did HR incur a paradigm shift from the back office to the front office?
Well, it's kind of interesting, Chuck, because I don't think it's just an HR thing. I think if you look at some of the classic ERP kinds of functions, back office functions, you're seeing that a lot of them are migrating to the front office, the HR process moving to the front office, and for many of the same reasons. HR was built on top of ERP because ERP was the system with the money, and HR was the system that was primarily concerned with paying people back in the manufacturing age. We're not in the manufacturing age anymore. We're not in the mainframe age anymore. We're in a services age. We're in an age when integrating or interfacing people is the most important thing, and you don't do that in the back office. So I see a lot of reasons for HR functions to move to the front office to be closer to the people that HR wants to serve.
Let me go one level deeper on this HR transformation of services delivery to sort of a front office metaphor. It would seem that this HCM shift may permit a more progressive mission for HR leaders and new capabilities for HR services delivery. What are the strategic benefits facilitated by this new front office positioning of the HR department?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones, we talked about unicorns a few minutes ago, Chuck, and when you find somebody that you really, really want to have, the thing you don't want to see happen is that person gets lost in a bureaucratic or Byzantine process that's paper dominated. What you want to do is move quickly for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to get that person on board and contributing to your ability to make money or save money, but you also want to make sure that you get that person off the street so that person doesn't go to your competitor or engage in a bidding war. Nobody wins in a bidding war. You might see a good person that you want to hire, but you have a budget, right? And you don't want to find out that your competition is feeding them a few dollars more just to spite you or whatever. So I'd say those are the reasons.
Good points for sure. Dennis, for my last question, let me ask you, how are new emerging technologies, such as social and mobile, impacting HCM opportunities, capabilities, and services delivery?
Well, social and mobile, you might as well add cloud in there too. They're impacting the same way they're impacting just about every other business process you can think of. The mobile technology that you hold in your hand is, in many parts of the world, becoming the standard computing platform. In many ways, it is becoming the global computing platform because that's what people can afford to have. Secondly, there's become an increased blurring of the distinction between private time and work time. Many more people today are working as for pay and for incentive compensation. So many of them don't mind checking their email, for example, on a weekend, or checking their email at 10 o'clock at night to make sure that a project is on track. They do that for a lot of reasons. And when you add the idea of hiring people and managing them into that mix, then you realize that HR on the social mobile platform is just another great way of keeping people in touch with people and keeping your work and business processes going, whether those business processes are involved in making or saving money, or in just encouraging the smooth operation of the organization.
Well said. And with that, I think we're at a good break point to conclude our conversation. This is Chuck Schaefer, and I've been joined by Dennis Pombriant. Dennis, thank you for your comments and conversation, and thank you for joining me today.
Always a pleasure, Chuck. Thank you.